Let's talk a little bit about the performance then of the bank over the last quarter. Are you disappointed with the performance in the fixed income side of the business?
Good morning, Anna. If we take first a generic look, let's be clear, BNP Paribas posted solid results. It clocked in 2.4 billion euros, and this in the context of a generic pickup economically across Europe, which can be also seen in the business in credit outstanding going up by 3.7% year on year. And this also delivering the bank or allowing the bank to deliver a return on tangible equity of 11.2%. And this growth that I talked about in Europe is best seen in our specialized businesses, for example, of international financial services, which are really picking up well. Moreover, our domestic markets is also picking up according to the plan on its bottom line, even if faced with persistent low interest rates. When it comes to the point that you mentioned, if you look at the results, of course, you have to take into account a negative forex effect, and also the fact that compared to a year ago, the economic context is less favorable for CIB, in particularly on FIG and in particularly in Europe. But nevertheless, the bank keeps on continuing its transformation plan, ramping up to 2020, and to continue its sustainable finance as well.
On the equities side of things, you delivered something better than perhaps some were looking for, Lars. Does that continue? What can you tell us about both FIC and equities, and how much the trends in this last quarter will be carried through into the rest of the year?
Yeah, if you look at it, it is true that for fixed income, when you compare to in Europe explicitly, when you look at the second quarter, the environment of the market is more subdued. And in particularly in Europe, there is a bit of a pickup in Asia Pacific, there is a pickup in the US, of course, as we've seen. And in Europe, that FIC part is somewhat compensated by the equities. And so the equities had a reasonable quarter, this time partially compensating what we've seen in FIG. We'll have to look at how these things evolve for the rest of the quarter. It's a tad too early to say.
Can I ask about the French economy? How is that impacting on the business? We've seen some measures of economic performance cooling just a little. Do you see that, Lars?
Yeah, overall, if you look, let's not forget, we are a pan-European bank, so we serve our domestic customers in each of these areas. We serve them in their international needs. And we see, if you look at the loans outstanding, for example, in France, but also in Belgium and so forth, they are up 5%. So this is an evolution which basically illustrates the robustness of what we're seeing across Europe. And basically, we continue to serve the clients in their individual needs, the corporates, the mid-sized companies. And this is what we've seen in the second quarter as well.
What is the biggest downside risk to your business, do you think, in the second half of the year, Lars? What would you cite?
No, I mean, overall, we are operating in Europe in this low interest rate environment. So that is the point we have to be careful of. It's a point, of course, that we compensate by focusing on value-added services, which are generating fees and commissions. Our digitalization plan is also reducing a cost. And this low interest rate environment also generates lower cost of risk. So that is the overall element that we keep on focusing on.
Can I ask about trade? Are trade tensions something that worry you with regards to your customers? And is it coming up in conversations with customers?
Let's be very fair. We are a pan-European bank. We're serving our customers for their domestic needs, but also for their pan-European needs, their international needs. And basically, we have seen a robust second quarter on this topic.
Okay, so are you not too concerned about that? Are you concerned about Italian exposure? You're big in Italy, of course. Debt market turmoil in Italy was a feature of the last quarter. Is that something that worries you?
Well, there's two things. If you look in Italy, we have somewhat shy of 5% market share, so that's a very manageable kind of position. And we're also, in particularly, focusing on the strengths that BNP Paribas is offering in the banking environment. So we're focusing on the larger international corporations. We're focusing on the individuals with their advanced solutions needs. So that is what we keep on doing. We have repositioned ourselves in Italy in the last couple of years on these segments. And so that is how we continue to support the Italian economy.
I think we're about 9 months away from the Brexit date, Lars. How is preparation at BNP Paribas coming along? What can you tell us? What are your plans in terms of movement of staff?
Yeah, there is a lot of uncertainty about how certain elements of Brexit will materialize. Now, for us at BNP Paribas, let's not forget, as I said, we are a pan-European bank, so we're serving our customers in their domestic markets, helping them on their international servicing needs as well. And that is what we will continue to do. So we're well positioned with our positions into the UK, but also into the continent, that for us, we will be focused on continuing to serve our clients this way.
So you continue to focus on serving the clients, Lars, but does that mean moving any staff away from London towards Paris, for example?
For us, as I said, we basically focus on serving our customers in their domestic markets, and this is very often done through the domestic presence that we have. If you look at in the UK what we're doing with the possibilities we had to grow to Strutt and Parker and the likes, that is what we continue to do.
Can I just, in closing then, Lars, just one quick question on your 2020 targets. Anything that you've rethought around the 2020 targets, or are you on course to meet all of those?
Yeah, if you look at 2020, what we're really doing is we're changing the customer journeys, we're digitalizing, and by doing all that, we're of course also reducing the cost. And if you see, we're 18 months down the road of a 4-year plan. We have again invested €500 million so far this year. And what are we really doing? We're really changing the interaction with our customers. So we're doing aggregation of services, but we're also doing new services, like for example in France, Nickel, which has been adding more than 950,000 customers. And so this is what we continue to do, and we're well on track on that.